This is Chad Gray, Administrator of Elections for Williamson County, Tennessee. I am pleased to announce a series of videos as part of a larger program called the Williamson County Election Institute. One of the goals of this program is to inform our voters about the laws and various policies and procedures that surround our efforts to preserve the integrity of the ballot in all of our elections. It is of utmost importance that our voters feel confident when casting their ballot in each and every election. This program has been designed to familiarize our citizens with the various functions of our office in relation to topics such as voter registration, voting machines and equipment, candidate information, early and election day voting, absentee voting by mail, and poll officials and their importance. We hope that you will have a greater understanding and appreciation for the efforts that are made to ensure a fair and impartial election process.
This is the Election Institute. Our guest is the administrator of the Williamson County Election Commission, Chad Gray. Chad, who may vote absentee by mail in the state of Tennessee?
Well, today's topic is on by-mail voting, this session of the Election Institute. And we have basically three types of ways to cast ballots in Tennessee. You can do in-person early, in-person election day, or by mail, and that's what we're talking about on this particular occasion. Absentee ballots are permitted for certain types of voters who qualify. There are a number of reasons to vote by mail that are the legal reasons. The most common are for voters that are 60 years of age or older, college students who are enrolled at a university that's really outside of the area, voters with disabilities or that have a medical condition, and voters that are not here during early voting or on election day. The legal reason must be specified in your request to vote by mail. So that is something that we keep up with as far as that process is concerned.
How does a person receive a ballot by mail?
Well, a request for a by-mail ballot must be submitted to our office in writing or on the prescribed form that you could obtain from our website or a number of different websites. The request must contain the voter's signature, and if the voter is physically unable to sign the request, witnesses are required to attest to the voter's intent. Now, this is taken very seriously. We do check the signatures on these requests as compared to the original registration documents in our office in order to ensure that this indeed is the voter that's requesting over their signature the by-mail ballot. A form may not be submitted, that's a by-mail request form, no earlier than 90 days before the election and no later than 7 days before the election. So you've got about a several month window prior to the election to submit that. It can't be submitted early. And a request form or written request may be submitted to our office by email, in person, or by postal mail.
Can a voter pick up or drop off a by-mail ballot at the Election Commission office instead of using the Postal Service?
Well, current law requires in our state that a by-mail ballot be sent to the voter using the United States Postal Service and that the ballot be returned by Postal Service or another mail delivery service such as Federal Express or UPS. Our state does not use absentee ballot drop boxes as some others do. Ballots must be received by the close of the polls on election day in order to be counted. So they have to be in by 7 p.m. on election night.
How do military and overseas citizens vote by mail in elections?
Well, those who are serving in the armed forces or those who are residing overseas, either temporarily or permanently, are entitled to vote under what's called the Federal Voting Assistance Program. This allows qualified voters to apply to vote in each calendar year in which their elections are actually occurring. And under this program, ballots can be sent by email or postal mail to the voter. However, the ballots do have to be, returned by postal mail or mail delivery. So we can email the ballot to you, but you have to mail it back through the postal service in whichever country or jurisdiction you're residing in. And those have to be received by the close of the polls on Election Day. And generally speaking, we start sending those ballots out 45 to 50 days prior to any election in order to give those individuals time to return them.
How does a person know that their completed ballot was received by the Election Commission after it's been mailed?
Well, that's a very good question. In 2020, the Tennessee Division of Elections developed a ballot tracking software that all 95 counties were able to use that allowed a voter to look up the status of their ballot. It was very helpful to our voters in that year. We anticipate that will continue, at least for the larger elections. After the receipt of the ballot, the voter is logged in our database as casting that ballot in the election, and the ballot is deposited in a locked and sealed ballot box until Election Day.
When are absentee by-mail ballots tabulated, and by whom?
Well, the process of preparing the by-mail absentees for tabulation cannot begin any later, or any sooner rather, than the opening of the polls on Election Day. A bipartisan counting board, which is appointed by our 5-member election commission, are assembled and convened for that purpose. There are multiple steps involved in the duties of the counting board that ensure that the number of by-mail ballots cast as logged in the voter database match the number or equal the number of ballots deposited in the ballot boxes. If a voter has marked the ballot in such a way as to make the intent of their choices unclear, the counting board goes through the process of what we call adjudication to determine the intent of the voter if possible. About 1% of the by-mail ballots in the November of 2020 election were adjudicated out of about 13,000 that were cast. All tabulation is completed in our state on Election Day, even if it's at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. The absentee counting board has to complete its task before going home for the evening.
That's the Election Institute. Thanks for watching.